Tucker just comes sprinting at me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is the deal here?
I had to distract her and run her away. So I took her to the opposite side of the tower. I got on one knee and asked her to marry me. And your response was...
Did you ask my dad yet?
Love stories fill us with joy and inspire hope for the future. And a true life romance can remind us that sometimes just one spark is all it takes to change everything. They met on deployment in the Middle East, and then they were sent in different directions. A declaration of love, an elopement, and a love story you'll never forget. Welcome to Unexpected Love Stories. I'm your host, Dawn Prushkovsky. My special guests today are Tucker and Jessica Andis. Tucker is a proud Air Force officer from Yakima, Washington. He loves golf, cooking, and making everyone laugh. Jess was adopted from Russia, but she grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. She's passionate about people, public communication, her dogs, and Pilates. Now they live in South Carolina, and I'm so glad to have them with me today. I just adore this couple, and I know you will too. Welcome, you guys. How you doing?
So good.
That's a lovely introduction.
That was...
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, you are a lovely couple.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's go back to before you two met. What were you doing? What did life look like for you? And were you looking for love?
I'll start off. I was in Las Vegas, Nevada, serving in the Air Force, stationed at Creech Air Force Base, which happened to be my fourth base in the Air Force. And as it typically works, getting stationed somewhere for a short amount of time doesn't leave a whole lot of room for you to meet somebody, especially with the understanding that you'll be leaving. So by attempting to rush into a relationship or rush things, it just doesn't tend to work out. And so at that point in time, before meeting Jessica, I wasn't really in a place of searching for someone. I was more in a place of ready to move on to the next city. And that's when I received the opportunity to deploy to Al Dhafra, and I found it exciting. And that's where I left off.
Yeah, for me, I was a college student at the time. Well, yeah, I was a college student, and I was in the Air Force Reserves, and I got orders that I was going to deploy, and my dad was so mad. He was like, I need to talk to your leadership. And I was like, Dad, you can't get me out of this one. I'm going to go deploy. And at the time, I was dating a different guy. And then when I got to the deployment, within like 2 weeks, he had cheated on me. And then that was over. So there was about a 3-month period between then and when I had remembered meeting Tucker, where I was just single and working out all the time and enjoying the UAE and the new country. And it's the best place to break up with somebody, is being like literally across the world from them on a military base where like you have to work 6 days a week, and then you like the rest of the time you're just trying to do your best to like explore the country that you're in and to enjoy the environment that you're in.
Perfect. So great breakup place. Take note of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you guys are just on assignment, not looking. But how did you guys end up meeting and finding each other?
I'll start.
They're in the vast desert.
Once I got to the UAE, mind you, I only had about a 2 weeks notice where I took up this opportunity to go. It was kind of chaotic getting to the base. I actually had to stop at 3 different other bases before I got there, which meant I met a lot of friends, one of which invited me to what we call the smoke pit. And that's typically where everyone hung out after work. While I walked up to his table, I saw 2 girls, and one of them was very lively, happy, funny, and beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And she had just broken up with her boyfriend. We proceeded to meet a few more times, in and around the same area.
So you just slid into the table next to her and started talking?
The same table. The
Mhm.
boy that I had become friends with, he was sitting with them, waiting for me to show up. But Jess didn't stay at the table. She kind of moved around, and she was friends with everyone on base.
Yeah, I don't think I really had any interest at that time. So when I remember meeting Tucker, I was giving him some training on this computer program that we use for like emergencies and stuff because he was the chief of safety out there. So I remember him coming into the office, and then I saw him and my heart was pounding because it was like, oh my gosh, this is the most attractive man I've ever met in my entire life, and I have to give him training now. And I remember just like rushing through the training. And I remember thinking, honestly, like, I remember even saying to you, please do not ask any questions. And then he was like, okay, do you mind if I just like play around with the computer for a second to familiarize myself? And I was like, yeah, sure. So then he sat in my chair, and I was like, my heart is still like pounding. And I was like, I actually think I want him out of my office because this is like uncomfortable. And then he left, and I turned to my coworker and I said, it was actually my supervisor. I said, I'm gonna marry that man one day. And like, it was just like, I never said something like that about somebody. But the funny thing is like, to me, that was love at first sight. To him, we had already met 5 times before that.
At least. The difference was I had shaved my stash the night before.
So I didn't recognize him without a mustache. So it's like I don't know, it's like Clark Kent with his sunglasses or his glasses on or whatever. Like I couldn't tell it was the same person.
Okay, so Tucker, did you keep your mustache off since that's when she fell in love for quite a
Well,
while?
yeah, I didn't know that was the case because to me, I had met Jessica at least a dozen times. And so the fact that I received this training with her wasn't something that kind of blew me away or thought that anything was different on this occasion. It wasn't until a few weeks later when I called back to her office and her supervisor picked up. And after our conversation, he said, by the way, your future wife says hello. And I thought,
it was me.
Who could that be?
And I was so embarrassed. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
So, yeah, at that point, we ended up running into each other time and time again. There was a lot of pressure to, spark something up. I feel like because of the short timeline that we had left on deployment, which was only about 3 or 4 months, I didn't think it would be a wise decision to attempt a relationship, considering at that point I'd already decided I'm not going to do a distance relationship. I refuse to do distance. I refuse to try and make things faster than they ought to go. I also refuse to date someone that I work with. But all that aside, I decided, you know what? I think let's check this out. And upon meeting Jessica and having our first date, I realized, wow, she really is something special. I think I'm going to break all the rules for this one.
Okay, so you said there was a lot of, sounds like people were trying to get you two together, or
Yep.
because like you have like her boss saying your future wife is calling and
Yep.
all of this. So is that what kind of triggered you to go like, okay, all right,
There was
maybe I'll try?
there's probably about 6 or 7 folks that encouraged me to take her on a date and get to know her. It wasn't until my roommate at the time really pushed me one evening and said, Tucker, just go. And I said, all right, I'm going to go. I'll give it a shot. And so we did. But yeah, dating in
Well,
the
Jess, what did you think when the man you're going to marry, this mustacheless man, said, "Hey, let's go out"? What did you do? What did you think?
I probably didn't think really anything crazy of it at the time. I think I was like excited, and talking about it makes me excited again, but I was pretty excited, but I didn't realize that like this word vomit that came out would ever come into fruition.
One of our first dates was dinner for my birthday, and upon driving home, I said, "For my birthday, would you like to be my girlfriend?"
Yeah, and then I said yes. Or I think I might have asked you, do you want a girlfriend for your birthday?
That's what it was.
But I also, like, immediately after this, like, I remember going back to my room thinking, like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I feel sick.
What am I thinking? What just came out of my mouth?
Yeah, I had just gotten out of this, like, relationship. I was doing great. Like, I was like, how am I already locked down again? Like, I felt, like, sick. Like, I was freaked out and I was like, whatever, like, I'm not gonna break things off because I'm scared. I'm just in a relationship now, which was like, it was exactly what we had already been doing just with the label on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then orders
Yep.
send you in different ways?
That's correct. What I left in October of 2022 back to Las Vegas, and was back in the same routine, flying on shift work. And Jessica left in November back to Ohio. So pretty much the whole United States was in between us now. And
before you had left, though, he had spoken to me and he said, if we're going to do this relationship, I'm gonna go all the way. Like, this is gonna be everything or nothing at all. Because he was like, I'm putting myself in a pretty uncomfortable situation here. Like, he had told me he was not interested in doing long distance. So he was like, if we choose to do this, he told me he was planning on marrying me if that was the case. So we knew from then, I'd say that was about 3 months into our relationship, he expressed that, like, that was his goal, was to marry me.
Yep.
Oh, Tucker.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you're apart. How do you keep your relationship strong, being so far apart from each other? And it's not like you just have the freedom to, travel whenever you want to.
That's right. So after getting back, I had 2 weeks off from work that I could use to travel. So I spent that traveling back to Ohio to greet Jessica back from her deployment, and really just burned a lot of leave and spent a lot of money on plane tickets. But the goal was that once a month we would spend at least 4 to 5 days together, either in Ohio or in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we were really fortunate to, like, be able to have the finances to be able to fly out. I think, like, flying out to Las Vegas for me, like, wasn't like flying out to this expensive place, because tickets to Las Vegas are cheap because they want you to be there. And thankfully Tucker was able to buy all my plane tickets to go there. I think in order for it to work, we had to have, like, a set end date. Like, we knew at this point, like, once I was out of college, like, there was light at the end of the tunnel, because it was not easy at all. And then for Tucker, I think it was particularly hard for him because we were just at completely different stages of our life. We go from being on a deployment where we have pretty similar routines, we're in the same environment, to, like, okay, now he's a 27, 28-year-old guy, and then I'm still in a sorority in college. So it was kind of like a shock to him when he visited me and I'm living in my sorority house. And I think that honestly freaked him out there for a second. So to get through this, like, period of, like, I just got to finish my degree, and then the intent was us getting married, because I was not going to move in with my boyfriend. And then
yeah, I think having something to look forward to as well.
Yeah.
Having trips, having them planned out,
Yeah.
knowing that the next trip is secured when you're with each other, that there will be a time and a date specifically of when you will see each other again. It breeds a lot of confidence in the relationship.
Yeah, I think now, like, this is everything that I prayed for. So, like, it just makes you more grateful to be with the person now, too, because, like, it was the worst, like, having to say goodbye and be far apart, and just, like, waiting until the next time you got to see each other again, it was a terrible heartache and waiting period. So it makes me more grateful now that we live together.
So, just how long until you finally graduated?
Actually, a year.
It was about a year. It's a little over a year from the time that Jessica got back to the time she graduated.
When did you start going like, I got to put a ring on it?
So while I was in the Emirates, I'd actually gone to they call them souks. I went to a gold souk and purchased 3 rings, and of those rings, we have one of them left.
No, you have your ring.
I made my current ring out of one of the rings. But I knew that I needed to invest in this, and this was the time. Once we got back to the United States, and approximately a few months into it, once I got somewhat comfortable with the fact that everything is okay, things are different. We're in a completely different environment than when we were in the UAE together.
Mm-hmm.
I decided, all right, Jessica only has about a year left of school. We can make it. This is working out, and I still have the intent of marrying her. I'm not going to wait, and I need to get engaged. We need to get engaged.
Yeah, I think you had a trip to DC.
Yes.
And it was my summer break, so I didn't have anything other than military obligations that summer. So it was a much easier plane trip to Washington, D.C. than it was to Las Vegas. So I did a couple trips out there to spend time with him. And that was so fun because everything there is free. If you don't live there, the people have to pay like crazy taxes to live there. It's so expensive. But all the museums and everything to do there is free. So we got to run around there and enjoy the good food.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent 2 months in Washington, D.C. The opportunity arose for me to go. And I figured since it's closer to Ohio, it'd probably be cheaper. Plus, since she was on summer break, we'd get to spend more time together there.
Mm-hmm.
It was May and June, and Jessica had just flown down, and I started making the plans for the engagement because I decided this would be the most beautiful place to do an engagement. And with those plans in mind, I booked a photographer. I knew the exact place. I knew the date. I booked the hotel. And upon getting back to the hotel where Jess was at, I had a notification stating that my check-in time was right then for the hotel that I booked at the Waldorf Astoria, and it was $1,200 non-refundable. So I had to act fast. I'd actually booked it for the day of, thinking that it was a month out.
Oh no.
With that month time frame, I was planning on flying or driving to Ohio to ask her mother and father permission to marry their daughter. But now we're on a very tight time crunch and not a whole lot of wiggle room, and I did not want to lose out on that money. So I came back to the hotel with the intent to tell Jessica we're going on a date. So I told her to get ready, and we had no time to pack anything. I didn't want to give anything away. So I get her in the car, and I said I forgot. What did I forget?
I don't remember.
I said I forgot something in the room. So I sprinted up to the room, called her dad, said, Chris, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm asking your daughter to marry me tonight. I don't really have time to explain why or how we got here. I had the full intent to ask you in Ohio in person well in advance, but things went a little haywire. Do I have permission to marry your daughter? And he said, on one condition, she has to graduate college. And I said, deal. So off I went back to the car, and we drove off. Her favorite food is mac and cheese. We got mac and cheese. We went down to DC, walked around, checked out the Waldorf Astoria, where I checked in nonchalantly. Had a little bit to eat, and then I pretended as though there was something wrong with the food and the service.
Yeah, we had gotten like asparagus and some wine, which the wine did take like a crazy amount of time for it to get to us. Like we were just getting drinks and asparagus. And then he went up and I remember like sitting there and he was like talking to the lady that was like working there or whatever. And he came back and he was like, okay, babe, like okay, sorry, he wants to tell it.
So I was in a panic frenzy and I run up to whoever I think is in charge, the manager, and I tell them my predicament, exactly what happened and where I stand. And she said, don't worry, it's all handled. Be back here at 9 p.m. We'll meet you and we'll take care of it all. And I said, okay, sounds good. So I had to run over to Jessica and make up a story within 10 seconds. And I said, it's all taken care of. We get to go to a free party at 9 p.m. here, and we get to go check out the bell tower and get a tour because of how bad the service was, which is really non-believable, but
I believed it.
she believed it. They close at 8, but somehow we have a private tour at 9.
I had no idea like there was like this bell tower or anything.
So we had to burn about 2 hours. We walked around, checked out DC, went to the White House, came back to the hotel, and there she was, ready to give us our grand tour of the hotel, take us to the bell tower. On the elevator we went, and upon getting to the top of the tower, we exited the elevator, and sitting right in front of the elevator was a bottle of champagne on ice. And I thought, oh my gosh, they just gave it away. She's going to see it. She's going to know what's happening.
Which I did not see it, by the way. And all I was doing was just looking at like the view at the top of this bell tower. You can see all of Washington, D.C. And then I was kind of standing over by the edge there. And then all of a sudden, Tucker just comes sprinting at me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is the deal here?
I had to distract her and run her away. So I took her to the opposite side of the tower. I got on one knee and I asked her to marry me. And your response was,
did you ask my dad yet? I said, did you guys? Okay, so I was not going to say yes unless my dad said yes already. And he was like, yeah, I asked her dad. And I remember when you got down on one knee, like you couldn't say, like you couldn't say anything.
I started to cry.
And and then I was just like, oh my gosh, did you ask my dad? And you were like, yeah. And then I said, okay, yes. So then I saw the bottle of champagne, and then we popped the cork, and then we had some champagne, and then I didn't even know that we were spending the night there because Tucker was like, do you want to spend the night here? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, we can't. It's $1,200 to spend the night here. And I was like, oh, okay. But then he was like, your dad knows. We have a room here tonight. We're going to spend the night here. And then we went down to the bar in this beautiful hotel. And I was just like really excited telling everybody at the bar that I had just gotten engaged.
You're walking around. Well, hello.
Yeah. Everyone bought us drinks, and we didn't bring phone chargers. We didn't bring a change of clothes.
No.
It was a little chaotic. Jessica did not sleep. She woke me up in the middle of the night with a Coca-Cola and a knife and said, open this.
They had their fridge stocked with like bottled Coke, and I was just like so thirsty, and I was like, open this in the middle of the night
with a knife.
Yeah.
It was a twist off, so I just twisted it off and handed it to her.
But I did not want to see her so excited. I called my dad, and he was like, oh, congratulations, and he was happy for us. Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, I love that. Okay, so you're engaged.
Yep.
You wait until after Jess has graduated college.
Yeah.
Which was in...
That was in December. So I graduated December 2023. And then the date that I flew out to Las Vegas was January 8th. And then we eloped on January 9th.
Yes. And the issue that we ran into when I got back from DC was I've been in Las Vegas for now 4 years, and I know that I need to leave soon. So my concern was simply getting to the next base, and when will that be? Fortunately, my commander understood, and he got me orders to South Carolina. The only problem is the orders were for March of 2024. So there was a lull period from after Jess graduated to when we could move to South Carolina and start our lives together. That being said, we had the full intent to be married before we moved in together and lived together. And so during the moving process, we decided that when Jessica flew back into town, that we were going to elope. And that's where you come in, Don.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm in the story?
Yeah. So my parents were like completely tracking. Tucker did not really tell his parents. Like that was the plan.
I didn't tell anyone.
My dad dropping me off to the airport, he was like tearing up and he was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, Dad, like I'm as ready as I can be." And yeah, it was super important to me for us to get married. And it ended up working out because we got the hard part over with. Like we had our first year of marriage under the belt before we had gotten had a ceremony with our family. And that was the real growing pains. I had lived alone for the last 3 years. So moving in with you was difficult for me. And I'm sure it was an adjustment for you as well.
Yep.
Listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Please connect with us and share your comments about this episode on YouTube, Spotify, or whatever streaming platform you use. We want you to become a part of the conversation. So please go to our website, unexpectedlovestories.com, and share your love story with us. You can find a link to it in our episode guide. And while you're there, check out the photos of couples from each episode. We'd love you to share our podcast with your family and friends so that they can enjoy these stories as well. Unexpected Love Stories can be found on all their favorite podcast platforms. Okay, so tell us about the elopement.
Absolutely. So I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell my roommate, and I wanted it to kind of be a surprise. So we needed a witness. And meeting you, Dawn, we met a couple years prior, and it's so funny because it was about a 40-minute drive to church, and I didn't really go that often, but it's, I believe, my first time, and you were standing there. Just happened to be in the same row as me, and that's when we met. We'd known each other, and I'd known that you were a minister and you could marry people. So I asked you, how do we do this process? How do we work it? You filled us in, helped us out with all the paperwork, and we decided we were going to do it in the desert. We needed a witness, so not telling anyone was kind of difficult. So we actually told one of our friends that we were just going to meet him there for a hike, and the other one, I think, we shared with Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shared with Anthony so that he'd show up.
Yeah.
So he knew it was important to be there.
And then we told our friend Greta, we said,
we're going for a hike.
We're going for a hike. Do you want to meet us at Red Rock tonight?
So we had 2 witnesses on deck, and they both showed up, and we eloped in the deserts of Red Rock.
Yeah, and the crazy part, before all this happened, I had my drill weekend for the military, and I feel like the devil was working to make sure that this did not happen, but I literally fractured my L5 2 days prior to this. So I remember, like, wherever we were staying, I think we were staying at some casino, and then you had to I had to hold your arm everywhere we walked because my back hurt so bad. But we did it. We made it there, and my back's better now. Yeah.
I had a roommate, and so when Jess came to town, we would typically stay at casinos. The Golden Nugget had a deal going on with free stays, and so I took advantage of that, and it worked out.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so you guys tied the knot in the desert.
Tied the knot in the desert.
Yep.
Which it was so nice and private. Nobody's hands were in the pot. It was very peaceful, and it was good, and it was everything it needed to be. It was so special, and
it was.
Yeah.
It was really special.
And then we went to like this hole in the wall, like pizza place afterwards, and like that was so fun too. Like everything just went perfectly. We
It
were
felt
really
right. It
yeah.
felt very right.
Yeah.
Felt like the right decision
Oh,
the whole way.
good. All right. And then okay, two things. How did family react and friends when they found out that you are now married? And then with Jess having her uh, fractured, did you guys take a honeymoon?
So, Jessica, your family, how did they react?
They already knew.
Yeah, but were they a little hesitant and a little?
My dad was he was just like sad to see me grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we called my nana, and she was so excited, and she said that that was the right decision. She fully backed us up. She thought that everything we did it exactly how we should have. And her, being from the 60s and 70s, I think she felt like that was somewhat what their generation might have done. And I think she absolutely encouraged it, thought it was the right call. Both my parents were very disappointed that they weren't invited. Otherwise, I think they were very supportive. I felt as though our friends and family were very supportive, especially when we explained to them the circumstances and the reason why. It also helped with Jessica now being my wife for the orders. So we were then
Oh,
able
yeah.
to move all of my stuff. And then actually, all of her stuff was paid for to be moved to South Carolina.
Yeah, I remember when we called your mom, she didn't believe you at first.
She did not believe me.
She goes, "Are you kidding?" And we were like, "No." And she's like, "What?" Like she couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we called everyone on the drive.
Yeah.
So were you able to take a honeymoon?
No, we did not.
We
We went on
took,
a trip to Hawaii with Tucker's family.
so we
But
somewhat did.
it was
My dad said that we had a family trip to Hawaii, and he said I could take Jessica, but I would have to pay for her travel, and we would stay in separate rooms, and I would have to pay for her room. Upon giving my dad the notice that now we're married, we actually drove up to Oregon.
Yeah.
And he said, well, now that she's family, she's covered. So we spent a week in Hawaii, and it was very fun and very magical.
Yeah, it was peaceful.
Playing in the water, we felt like kids.
And that was like February.
Yep, a month later.
Yeah. So we got some trip. Yes.
And right after that, we moved.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you moved, but Jess needs her princess wedding.
That's right.
Yes.
Every girl needs her princess wedding.
Yeah. So I went back. Yeah, I went back and forth in my mind on like what we wanted to do and what was right for us. I grew up Catholic. I'm still Catholic. So it was like I knew that I would regret not being married in the Catholic Church. And we tossed around the ideas. We went back and forth probably for months trying to figure out like what was best for us. And then we settled on that. And then we got married. We decided to get married in the church that I grew up in Ohio.
Her father helped out quite a bit.
Yes, he did. He helped out financially a lot with the wedding, and then
but also going and visiting.
Yes, he got to go visit the venues for the receptions for us so that we had peace of mind knowing that it was a good spot for the reception afterwards. And then he pretty much let me plan the rest of everything else. And it ended up being the most perfect day of our lives. Like everything went off without a hitch and was perfect.
Since my side had to travel to Ohio, we had the reception actually at the hotel.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. We had a blocked off set of rooms for family and friends. And they flew down a couple days prior. We were able to have the reception go off without a hitch. My brothers barely made it.
Yeah.
They missed their flight. They were able to catch the next one. But that was really the only problem that occurred, and it wasn't even a problem. So the day of the wedding, believe it or not, myself and the groomsmen were the first ones to arrive at the church, all ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
we were actually placed in the priest's back room, and Jessica's mother came to the back room, and she said, "I need a moment with Tucker." So I went down to the hallway. I made sure that I wasn't in view of anyone, or I couldn't see Jessica. And in my pocket, I had my grandpa Lynn, my dad's father. I had his handkerchief, so I could have a piece of him with me. And so I thought that was very special to have, a family member who couldn't be there, obviously, with me. And Jessica's mother, Julie, came up to me with this little baggie, and she said, "Tucker, I don't know why, but I believe this is on my heart, that God placed this on my heart, and I want to give you my father's rosary." So Grandpa Russ, who also couldn't be there, she gave me her father's rosary, Jessica's grandpa, and this is it. And Julie and I hugged and cried a little bit, and I turn around, and the entire groomsmen party is bawling their eyes out.
Yeah.
Everyone has tears streaming down their faces, and I just thought it was so special because I had both grandparents' belongings side by side in my breast pocket, and it was very special.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right after I'd walked down the aisle, and we sit in these chairs up on the altar together, he keeps like trying to tell me something. I'm like, can this wait until after the ceremony? I was like, I cannot hear you. Tell me later. And he was like whispering. And then there was a moment where they play Ave Maria, and then you go over to the statue of Mary and drop off a flower, and you just pray to God to help your family and for children and fertility and a happy marriage. And that's when Tucker told me that my mom had given him her dad's rosary, and I thought that was really special too. And we were both standing there crying again because it was so special.
It was so special that we cried so much that the song ended and we had it returned.
Yeah.
We weren't ready.
We were still crying, trying to get it together. And then we walked back over and finished the ceremony. And it was the quickest.
Which is why this came in handy. So the handkerchief came in handy for both Jess and I to wipe away our tears.
And everyone said it was the best Catholic wedding that they had been to because it was so fast. It was about a 45-minute ceremony because we had already been married. So it wasn't like a mass because his family's Protestant, my family's Catholic. So we didn't do the whole communion and mass thing. So it was just perfect. Yeah.
And then you went back and celebrated at the hotel?
Yeah.
We did. I think the wedding, my best man, his name's Seth, he took his responsibility very seriously. The night before the wedding, we prayed together. The morning of, he met me in the room when Jess was getting ready. And, we prayed together. Before we left for the wedding, as we were getting ready, he prayed over all of us. And then once we were in the priest's back room, he prayed over us again. I truly believe that just spending so much time in prayer, especially with Seth, really made this thing go off so well. Once we got back, everyone came to our rooms to congratulate us. We took some photographs, and then the reception, we came running out, cut the cake, got our dance done, and Jess was very, what would you say?
It was a little tense.
Very tense.
It's just uncomfortable with everybody watching you.
We had a schedule and we had to stick to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jess...
I had spent so long planning every detail of this. Like, I needed to let go a little bit and, like, enjoy what I had planned. But I was like, So
when we were on the dance floor, I said, just relax. They just want to see us have fun. It doesn't matter whether or not we dance good. They just want to see us smiling and have a good time. So once we got back to the table, that's exactly what happened. We kind of relaxed a little bit, and we just had the greatest time.
Mm-hmm. I have a question, Tucker.
Yeah.
So because you've already been married at this point for over a year, because this, for people who when they watch this, is going to be a little bit later on, but you guys just had that big ceremony last month.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is
Yes.
really fresh.
Yeah.
Um, when uh, when you saw Jessica walk, that whole, like, the music starts and she appears, what what did you feel? What did you see? Paint.
So her father was walking her down, and there's an awful photo that I hope never gets released. But I did not think I would cry. I told Jess I wouldn't cry. Um, I just felt as though I was a part of the ceremony and that my emotions wouldn't really be seen, even though I love her immensely. But as soon as she started to walk down, I, of course, cried. And I shook her father's hand, and the photo is not pretty.
Yeah, getting down the aisle was tough too. Like not bawling my eyes out. I think all three of us, we
It
were.
was not flattering.
Yeah. But then once we got there, my dad gave me a kiss on the cheek and put our arms together, and then the priest, he kind of got up close to us and he said, "Okay, guys, take a deep breath." And like I feel like the weight had been lifted off my shoulders. We got the ball rolling. He's like, "Okay, I'll tell you guys everything you guys have to do. Don't worry, just relax, and then go sit up in your chairs." And we did that, and everything else went really well.
Yeah, even though we had rehearsed it, I'd forgotten everything.
Yeah, he
So
did.
the fact that I had Jessica and the priest to help me out and guide me was very nice.
He just like, I don't know. We went up onto the altar to go sit down at the chairs that are up there, and
I tried to stand.
He was
in front of
just
the
standing
altar.
there, and I was like, "Babe, come on, we gotta go sit down." He was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh my gosh. Okay. And this is so sweet, that you guys, we have photos of not one but two weddings,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? And lots of other special times. So I'm just going to say right now, friends, I just want you to come to our website, unexpectedlovestories.com. And that's where you can see these great pictures of Tucker and Jess from both weddings and all those sweet times in their love stories. I don't know. I guess we're not going to see a picture of Tucker crying, but just click in the link that's in our show notes, or just click on the link that's in our show notes below. It's going to take you right to their episode page, so you can see those pictures. You can read more about them, um, and you're just going to enjoy finding out more. So I've just got a question. How did that celebration feel different from your elopement?
Well, I think I encourage anyone to elope because it does, even though we eloped, it didn't actually feel that much different than the actual marriage. And it almost felt as though uh, a strengthening of the marriage. Both were very magical, both had very unique feelings of love bubbling up inside of you. Both were very special. Uh, both felt as a commitment. And what would you say?
I knew that it would like I would feel super married because the closer we
Super
got,
married.
the closer we got to it, the more convicted I was that I wanted to do the Catholic wedding. So the more excited I got about it, and then once I received the sacrament, I was pretty pumped after that because all my friends I hang out with are Catholic, and yeah, that their encouragement meant a lot to me because they were so excited for me. So it was just awesome. Yeah.
Hmm. Let's hear more about this new chapter in your life.
So,
Yeah.
Jessica, did you have a dream?
Oh, I was praying. Michelle had the dream.
Oh.
So I was praying and I got a vision that I was pregnant at my rehearsal dinner and that I announced it there. And I felt like it was already going to be a girl because every dream that I had prior about my baby before I'd even this was before we even tried to have her. It was always a girl. So then I got up off my bed after I got done praying. I said, Tucker, I just got a vision that I was pregnant at my rehearsal dinner, and that it was a girl. And then the next
morning, my
his stepmom calls him and says, I had a dream that Jessica was pregnant at her rehearsal dinner and that it was a girl. So it was just like the craziest thing ever. Mind you, we hadn't even tried yet. So that was still about 3 months out.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. So God was just preparing you.
Yeah. He was like, by the way.
So we got to announce it.
Yeah. So, all right. So did it surprise your stepmom?
Well, she knew, but at the rehearsal dinner, Jessica did announce it, and many people were surprised.
Yeah. But we were so excited. And then for going forward, we are going on our real honeymoon, and we're going to Italy, and we're so excited. Because this year for Catholics, it's a year of Jubilee, so it's a huge pilgrimage year for Catholics. So at the beginning of the year, I was praying about it. I was like, I feel like I have to go to Italy this year. And Tucker was like, no, you're not. Normally in Catholic churches, you can go in groups that are it's a set price of $6,000, and you'll go as a church and everything's planned out for you and whatever. So I was like, I feel like I should go on this. And then we were talking about where we wanted to go for a honeymoon. We originally said Bali. And then Tucker was like, no, I want to go to Europe. There's literally no place in Europe that I would actually want to go to other than Italy. So we ended up deciding on Italy, and Tucker was like, we can go to Rome. I'll take you to the Vatican. I know it'll be really special to you. And he honored that for me, and that was so special and kind for him. And then after that, everything fell into place. So my friend Celia, she has stayed in Rome before, and her parents have. And what you do is you can reach out to a convent that you know of, or our church has a house there that you can stay at. So I reached out to this convent, and I asked if they had any availability for us to stay there. And mind you, this is the year of Jubilee in November, towards the end. I didn't really expect maybe a day or two that we could stay there. But they have these guest apartments that you can stay in. They're like, you can stay here for I think 6 or 7 days that we needed. And they were like, you can come with us to Mass at St. Peter's Basilica, which was so cool because where they do the Mass at, it's right next to the bones of St. Peter, the apostle himself, which is so cool to me. And they're excited to see me when I get there. But it's completely free of charge too. So obviously we'll give them a very great donation. And I know there's something there waiting for me. I'm not sure what it is, but God put it on my heart earlier this year. There is something in Italy for us. So we're excited about that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to Florence. I'm more excited than he is, but I don't like German food. And I don't want to go to Germany. I don't want to go to London.
Yep. So so we somehow through connections will have a week free stay in Rome, which is really neat.
And it's literally right outside the Vatican. It is a 5-minute walk to the Vatican where we're staying. It couldn't have worked out better.
I love that.
Yeah.
We were just in Italy a couple of months ago.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Love that. Love it.
If I would have gone on one of these church trips, I would have been there during the last Pope. Now that we've planned this, we'll hopefully get to see our American Pope, Pope Leo.
Yep.
Yeah. Tucker's not Catholic, so he's like, I'm pretty excited.
I love that. Okay, really quick, do you have any advice for couples who are facing long distance relationships or military relationships where there's that big distance and time apart?
Yeah, I think the best advice is going back to a lot of things that we've already mentioned. If you're doing distance, have something to look forward to. And once you're in that moment together, make sure that you have the next thing to look forward to, so that when you say goodbye, it's not goodbye, it's see you soon.
Yeah.
On top of that, having sending each other letters is always very special. FaceTime if you're able to, but always have a deadline, essentially, from my perspective, of in your own mind, especially as the man, of when you plan on proposing, when you plan on getting married, when you plan on moving in together. If you have these goals, especially if they're written down and they're established, it will happen. And she just has to trust.
Yeah.
But that's in terms of distance. I think.
Can I talk?
Of course.
Thanks. Sorry. I think as far as like eloping goes, when we moved down here, I realized that like the boat that we were in, it was pretty common. Like when I first eloped and then was doing the ceremony, it felt exhausting having to explain to like our friends that didn't quite understand and our family on like why we're doing it kind of backwards. But then once I got here and I was in a military environment, this happens pretty frequently and all the time. So it isn't some like weird thing that we did, and it worked for us. And if it works for you, you shouldn't feel any type of way of doing it that way.
Yeah, I believe it's not, like I said previously, if you plan on moving in together, you have the intent. I truly believe that if you live with your spouse, you should be married. And getting eloped is the right call if that's your intent to move in together. On top of that, getting eloped just makes it a lot more stress-free to plan the ceremony. There's no rush at that point, and you're married.
And you can't get cold feet when you walk down the aisle because you're already married. You're just getting super married.
Super married. But
Yay for super married.
Yeah.
Super married. I've given this advice to a few of my coworkers, and a few of them have taken me up on it. So I have seen a few of them elope with their spouses, and yeah.
I felt so happy the day after our ceremony. Like just full of joy and peace and happiness that everything went perfectly. I will say the night after we eloped, that's when the nerves kind of hit me and I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Like, and Tucker was sleeping next to me, sound asleep, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I hope I signed that in invisible ink that's going to disappear in a couple hours. Like, I don't know what I just did. But then it ended up blossoming into the most like beautiful thing.
Nope, it didn't. I handed it right away over to the guy, my husband,
Yeah.
who worked at the Marriage License Bureau. It was done deal, baby.
Right.
It was very exciting. It was definitely the right thing to do.
I love it. Well, I'm so glad that you came on and that you shared your beautiful story. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
you, Dawn.
Thank
This
you,
was
Dawn.
such
Thank
a
you.
blessing for us to like relive everything and like talk through it. Like it was like so fruitful for us to remember that and strengthened our marriage to talk through it with you and prepare our hearts for this.
That's why I think it's so important to share love stories.
It is. It really is.
Every love story is so unique, but there is always this joy that comes, and this increased love that comes out. I think it's precious.
3.5 years ago, if you asked me what my future looked like, I couldn't tell you that it would look anything like this. It is completely love unexpected. And I encourage everyone to have faith and to be hopeful and to trust in God.
Perfect. Well, friends, remember that love can find you anywhere in the world, even, as Tucker said, when you least expect it. So, hey, I want to ask you, do you know that we're on social media? Follow Unexpected Love Stories on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We post fun man-on-the-street interviews, photos, and reels regularly. And you can comment or message to us, and I guess we'll write you right back. And don't forget to go to our website, unexpectedlovestories.com, and there you can learn more about Tucker and Jessica. You can see their love story pictures. You can find a link even to reach out to them. That's all on their episode page. And that link can be found below in our show notes. Well, I hope that your heart feels lighter and full of hope after hearing this wonderful story. You know, sometimes the best love stories are the ones we never saw coming. So keep your heart open because love's waiting for you. We'll see you next time. Bye.